Coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio.
Almost a safe haven for dad while kids are at Camp Snoopy.
We want to talk about a very important issue concerning Minnesotans and the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund.
The cover launched in September, our newest pattern, our first new pattern in 8 years.
Broadcasting on the Sporting Journal Radio Network, wherever you get your podcasts or watch on YouTube.
Fish on right now.
Well, we're here at the 2024 Pheasant Fest and Quail Classic, presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. And our guest now is Jeremy Smith. I fish, I hunt, and always will.
It's just a look out for your everyday hunter, angler, and trapper that's out there.
A Fish Hunt Forever production. This is Sporting Journal Radio. Hey, Minnesota, we got a couple of important topics for you to discuss here on this week's show. Welcome to it. I'm Bret Amundsen. That's Dan Amundsen over there. What's up, Dan?
Hey, I hope we get to both topics. We might run out of time or have something else going on and have to talk about it next week, but we'll get to it. It involves the election.
Yeah, we'll at least touch on it.
Yeah.
Probably a
sure.
Little bit. So, all right. And David Eckhart on his way back from Saskatchewan on a waterfowl trip right now. So he will be back with us probably next week.
There he is.
There he is right there. Looking great, David.
I farm.
And always will.
Should we make him that shirt?
That's hilarious. All right. We have a couple of guests coming on this week. We're hoping to have Mark Holston from Minfish on the show. He said he could come on. He got real busy today. So we're hoping he can make an appearance and join us to talk about that yes or no vote on the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund that's coming up on the election this year. What does a yes vote mean? What does a no vote mean? We need to continue to fund the Environment Natural Resources Trust Fund and continue having LCCMR dictate how that money gets spent on the Minnesota environment. So we're hoping to have him on to talk more about that this week. Also, Matt Bluher is the head of marketing at Sitka, and he's going to join us. This is awesome. We're going to talk about Sitka opening up 2 new stores in Minnesota. One in the Mall of America. It opened up a couple weeks ago, and a brand new one in Maple Grove. What can you expect at the grand opening in Maple Grove this Saturday? And then if you can't make it Saturday, what's the store going to be like moving forward? We're going to find out. And of course, Joe Henry will join us to talk about a Lake of the Woods fishing report. First, Dan, who are the sponsors?
Go get the pizza out of the oven while I tell you about Invergrove Toyota. The official truck sponsor of Fish Hunt Forever is Invergrove Toyota. When looking for your new rig, head to Invergrove Toyota. Lake of the Woods Tourism. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world. Plan a trip for this winter at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. OnX Hunt. See private land boundaries, recent imagery, offline maps, and Minnesota-specific hunt layers. Download the OnX Hunt app today. Tasman Lake Lodge. Catch a world record lake trout and giant pike at Saskatchewan's Tasman Lake. Learn more at tasmanlake.com. Devils Lake, North Dakota. Catch it all. Devils Lake. Snow Bears will be getting ready to go out soon. Prairie Sportsman, the new season is not underway. We're filming it, getting it organized right now. I clearly have not updated this feed in a while. Watch episodes anytime at the Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel. Haybell Heights Campground and Resort. Fish Devils Lake this fall or winter. Learn more at haybellheights.com. And Guardian Eagle Resort. Plan a trip for next summer to go fish the Ontario waters of Guardian Eagle Resort. You can fly directly from the Twin Cities or Chicago or other places. Learn more at guardianeagle.com.
Heck yeah. Headlines. All right, here is the latest in the outdoor world around here. It's brought to you by Invergrove Toyota, and right now you can get $2,000 customer cash on a new 2024 Tundra. And for you, our Sporting Journal Radio and Fish Hunt Forever listeners and fans, get $250 off the lowest advertised price and an additional $500 for your trade-in. It's a great deal just for you. Visit invergrovetoyota.com/FHF. There's a form to fill out. Just fill that form out to save money on a new Tundra, Tacoma, or other Toyota at Invergrove Toyota in Invergrove Heights, Minnesota, 494 and Robert Street. All right, this is for people that want to spear a sturgeon in Wisconsin. Don't forget, if you want to do that, the deadline to apply for a sturgeon spearing tag is October 31st. Now, it is a lot of fun. Whether you want to spear a sturgeon or not, it's a lot of fun to be out there. I've done it a number of times, and it is we call it a deer camp on ice over there on Lake Winnebago in Wisconsin. We stay in Fond du Lac over there with our friends, and I've had just a great time over there doing that. But you have to apply by October 31st, or just go over there and hang out. There's usually a beer or two around there.
All right.
Minnesota DNR is offering state lands. There's their land sale, land auction. And they're going to offer state lands in Aiken, Cook, Itasca, and St. Louis counties during its annual public land sale. That's coming up November 7th through the 21st. Right now, you can learn a little bit more information about that on the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources website. And Dan, from all accounts, from what I've been hearing, the pheasant season so far been off to a tough start.
Oh, wrong button. Yeah, I guess I don't quite understand that one, but sure has. Maybe it's because I'd be curious to talk to some hunters and see if they're flushing a lot of hens, or what I'm guessing,
young birds,
hens.
Yeah.
Because I got some Snapchats the other day from a farmer in the field around our local neighborhood, and the birds were real young. There are a lot of late hatches this year, and a lot of late births for deer. We saw some fawns with spots still up in Saskatchewan, early October, mid-October. So things are a little bit behind. We talked about it last week in the fishing side of things, how everything was behind this year. It's not much different with the hunting, except maybe the migration. Well, the migration will definitely probably be behind. Yeah. And I think it actually was. So everything's behind. So if we can just, like, at the end of 2024 here, just add 2 extra weeks or something, we can get caught back up. That's like daylight savings time for the calendar.
I don't know what to think about the waterfowl migration right now, because I have to be a little transparent, right? Because normally we don't really see a good push of mallards until November. We've had some from the beginning of the season this year. In fact, we shot some in a field in Minnesota the other day. I just think we shot 6 or something like that, but it was fun. They were starting to build a little bit of fat. There wasn't a ton of fat on them yet, unfortunately, but we plucked them. They were delicious. And when we talked to John Devney from Delta Waterfowl, he thought part of it was maybe some of the re-nesting with the wet conditions, that we might have grew a lot of mallards this year.
Yeah.
So a lot of these might still be some local mallards, or maybe some from northern Minnesota. But I've also heard that up in northern Minnesota, they've seen some big pushes of birds. So I think it's happening. We did see a big flock of specks fly over at 30,000 feet, headed down. I know down they were seeing specks, in Missouri or Nebraska or something?
I think so. I think I saw someone say they saw snows in Kansas a week ago or something. Again, it's social media, so it could have been satire or not. But the other thing about it is there didn't seem to be a ton of ducks in Canada.
Yeah.
And besides people like western Saskatchewan, Alberta seems to be doing pretty well. I feel like I haven't heard of a ton of people really beating up the ducks in Canada this year. If they do, it seems to be kind of a pocket of them. It's like when we found the ducks up there was a ton of them, but otherwise it was nothing. There's a lot of dry sloughs up there. It was pretty, in parts of Canada, a lot of parts in Canada, it was really dry. So they might have had poor nesting conditions, and we had better nesting conditions. So I think we've mentioned it before that maybe some ducks just bred down here this year instead of going all the way north. So
that's a theory that makes sense to me. I don't know. I mean, obviously some definitely went north, and there's definitely some breeding up in
absolutely
Saskatchewan, Alberta, of course, and up north in Canada. But it was a weird year for sure. Even when we hunted in Canada, what we saw too in areas where we saw snow geese, they don't normally see snow geese. So I think the wet, dry conditions in different parts of the provinces up there definitely had an impact on where you find birds right now. Sounds like they're finding them in Devil's Lake though, and if you're looking for a world-class cast and blast destination this fall, check out Devil's Lake, North Dakota, where the walleye bite remains strong and the migration is on. Catch it all at Devil's Lake. Visit devilslakend.com to learn more and plan your next trip. And Dan, we got a new video coming out here soon from our ice fishing trip to Devil's Lake last year.
Yeah, we'll be getting people ready for ice for all you weirdos who get excited about ice fishing. We went up there last spring. Right kind of at the tail end of the season, and fished out of a snow bear, caught some walleyes, caught some perch, had some great accommodation at Haybell Heights. And I think we're even going to cook some walleye up for you and do a new recipe on some walleyes and some perch that we caught up there. So should be a fun one to get everyone all primed up for ice fishing. Highly recommend the snow bear thing. If you want to if you're going to take a fishing trip this year, Haybell Heights can set you up and do the snow bear deal. It's really comfortable. It's really easy. It's the best way to hole hop. It actually makes ice fishing really, really pleasant for a guy like me who's not the biggest fan. It's like being in a boat on the ice.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest gripe of how much of ice fishing is how much of a pain it is to move. Snow bear, you press a button, you're up, and you just got to drill new holes when you get there, and you're ready to fish again.
So check it out on the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel. While you're on
not
YouTube,
yet, but
it's not there yet, but it will be soon.
Yeah.
But what you can do is go check out our barotrauma episode from Prairie Sportsman that we filmed ice fishing last year. We just won it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We won an Upper Midwest Emmy Award for that for that episode. I'm pretty proud of that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, me too. That was a hot topic of discussion. We did multiple interviews
drama
on this show about it, and there's still work to be done. There's still research to be done, and we're not trying to say anybody had all the answers in any certain videos that went out, whether it's ours or anyone else's. Yeah. But yeah, this one, it's just highlighting the research being done and talking about where we're at. And it's good for, it's fun to take the recognition of our work, putting the TV show together, but it's good for the DNR and the other crews to get recognized for that work too and get highlighted for it, because it's important stuff. It's about the future of our fisheries in this great state.
And I was very excited to be a part of it, and I have to thank Lindner Media for that too. For sure. They should be on the trophy as well, because they helped us out immensely in that episode. So Jeremy Smith and Mike Hayner and the crew over there at Lindner Media, thank you very much. You're part of this award for us. I'm just going to write it in Sharpie on the bottom of the trophy. Congratulations, Lindner Media. So thank you guys.
Follow the science.
Don't forget, if you're looking for an epic walleye trip next summer, check out GuardianEagle.com, Guardian Eagle Resort. 75,000 acres of private water. We absolutely smashed walleyes. We fed walleyes at the dock. It was so cool. Fly direct from Minneapolis or Chicago and land right on their concrete runway right at the lodge. Learn more at GuardianEagle.com. And Dan, we got a new contest on our website, by the way.
Is that right?
SportingJournalRadio.com. Just look on the right side there. You'll see a gold-colored Fish Hunt Forever hoodie. We're going to be giving away a bunch of hoodies. All you have to do is enter that contest by putting in your email. So go to our website, enter the contest. You just got to put your email in, and then there's a link there for you that takes you to our Instagram page. That's all you got to do. Follow us on Instagram, but you have to go through the website to do it, and you'll be automatically entered to win a hoodie. That contest is going to go for, another week and a half or so.
The email part's really important. There's a lot of people that sign up that don't do all that. Apparently directions are hard. Shocker. Right. You got to follow all the directions if you want to win. So don't send me a message saying, why didn't I win? Follow the directions.
Are people sending you messages like that?
With that exact tone, and I don't know, it's the way they spell that last word's really weird, but it happens.
Oh, man. We hope you enjoy our podcast. We try to make something entertaining and educational here for you. And sometimes once in a while, Dan, we're guests on other podcasts. And we were recently a guest on the In Fisherman Storyline podcast with Thomas Allen, and we did it from Tazen Lake, which was pretty neat.
Yeah, that's now 2 podcasts that have ever been recorded from that lodge. So that's always a great setting, and it was fun just to sit down and BS about fishing. It's what we like to do here, and it's kind of nice to just sit down and talk and not have to press any buttons or worry about anything and let Thomas worry about it. But yeah, it's fun, and it's always fun to be up there with people who haven't been up there before and listen to them experience everything and get their take on it, because we've been up there. It's still always fun to be up there, of course, but it's fun to live vicariously through the first timers again.
For sure. And, and bringing somebody new up to that place is always fun. And Dan, we've been doing this podcast for a long time, and I've been a guest on a number of other ones. It's sometimes so much more fun just being a guest.
Yeah.
Because you can just relax. You can just answer questions. You don't have to, this is what happened. You don't have to think about, what am I going to ask?
You know how often I don't listen to our own show here, while we're doing this, because I'm doing something. Yeah. Be like, we'll get done. Well, what'd we say here? What'd we say there? I have no idea. Not a clue.
Well, it was a lot of fun, and Thomas, I appreciate you having us on the show, and you can find a link to that. Maybe we'll put a link in the description down here below to theirs. Otherwise,
I don't feel like it.
Otherwise, TazenLake.com has a link to the podcast. I think you can watch it. It's a video podcast, too, from the lodge, and you can watch it on the Tazen Lake website, TazenLake.com. That's where you can plan your trip to Northwest Saskatchewan for world record-sized lake trout and trophy pike over 50 inches. Find out more at TazenLake.com. All right, we have Matt Bluher from Sitka joining us to explain what's going to be in the new Sitka stores in Mall of America and also Maple Grove. The grand opening of the Maple Grove Sitka location is this Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. More details about that coming up, plus a Lake of the Woods fishing report, Joe Henry, and we're going to try to work Mark Holson. If we can't get him in this week, we'll try to get him on next week's show. But stick around. This is Sporting Journal Radio. Now is the time to start thinking about chasing big walleyes on Devil's Lake. Get on the fish at Haybale Heights Campground and Resort. Haybale Heights makes it easy for you to make memories on legendary Devil's Lake with guided fishing and lodging packages. Or bring your own boat and rent one of their cabins on East Bay. Haybale Heights offers a private marina, fish cleaning station, and the opportunity to relax and enjoy your bucket list trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. To book your trip, visit haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. We're back, Sporting Journal Radio. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Bret Amundsen. That's Dan Amundsen over there. And we have got Matt Bluher from Sitka, the marketing head of marketing at Sitka, going to join us to talk about the grand opening of the new Sitka Store in Maple Grove this Saturday. And, of course, talk about how the opening at the Mall of America location went a couple of weeks ago here in just a second. But before we get to Matt, we want to talk about a very important issue concerning Minnesotans and the Environment Natural Resources Trust Fund. Now, this is a portion of lottery ticket sales that goes to the environment. That's what Minnesotans voted on. It's up for a vote again this year, and there's a lot of confusion about it. We're hoping to have more people to come on in the next couple of weeks to discuss what is happening. Now, it's a yes or no vote on the ballot. You should pull up what the messaging is on the ballot, Dan, if you can.
That I've got. Okay. Yeah, here it is right here. You want me to read it?
Sure, go ahead.
I can read. Shall the Minnesota, let me start this over. Shall the Minnesota Constitution be amended to protect drinking water sources and the water quality of lakes, rivers, and streams, conserve wildlife habitat and natural areas, improve air quality, and expand access to parks and trails by extending the transfer of proceeds from the state-operated lottery to the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund, and to dedicate the proceeds for these purposes? Yes or no?
So this money has funded all sorts of projects regarding, the fishing in Minnesota, hunting in Minnesota, cleaning up the environment. Our show, Prairie Sportsman, is funded by the Environment Natural Resources Trust Fund. How that money gets spent is up to LCCMR, the Legislative Citizen Commission on Minnesota Resources. It's made up of citizens. It's made up of legislators, and they go through a rigorous proposal process, and every 2 years they award, I believe it's 5.5% of
yes.
that fund to these various projects. If you want that to continue, vote yes. The issue has been that now there's been some confusion because I guess there's some another committee that they're going to form to try to take another 1.5% of those proceeds for some different projects. Now, I don't know a lot about that. I just heard about it. I think Dan and we heard about it when we were in Saskatchewan. So we're working on trying to clear up all the confusion. But the way we understand it is if you don't vote, or if you vote no, the money that was going to LCCMR and the Environment Natural Resources Trust Fund goes to the general fund. I believe that's the way it is. And Minfish has put out a message about it. And then also Ducks Unlimited in Minnesota put out a message about it. So you can look into those resources to learn a little bit more about it as well.
And please read those messages. They're urging a yes vote. But also read the bill for itself. It's confusing language. I know I've had to reread it many times, but don't just read what somebody's posting on social media, especially if they're just copying and pasting a portion of this bill. I urge you to go to
do some research.
The House website, read the entire thing, try to understand it, but ask the right questions. But don't just see a Facebook post, please, and come to a conclusion.
So Minfish put this in their messaging. Since its inception, the fund has invested more than $1 billion in roughly 1,600 projects designed to protect and conserve the state's air, water, wildlife habitat, and other resources. This year's allotment was more than $103 million going to the Minnesota environment through various projects. So let's continue the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund. 852 million acres of public land, 147 million private properties, all in the palm of your hand. The #1 hunting GPS app just got better. With hundreds of custom map layers, 3D and topographic maps, you can easily scout on the road or at home before you go. And now you can get important weather details, CWD detection, and even know what crops have been planted where. Get the most trusted hunting GPS app ever made. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. All right, this is Sporting Journal Radio. Thanks for tuning in on the network. Wherever you get your favorite podcasts, or maybe you're watching this on Spotify or YouTube, thank you very much. I'm Bret Amundsen, and Sitka has been opening up stores around the country like Bozeman, Dallas, Atlanta, the most recent location at Mall of America, and now there's one more in Minnesota in Maple Grove. And there's a grand opening coming up this weekend, October 26th. It'll begin at 10 a.m. with the first 150 attendees receiving exclusive gift buckets filled with exclusive Sitka merchandise and other items. There's coffee, food, and drinks and games for the whole family. There'll be some raffles taking place throughout the day. And we're going to find out a little bit more about what's going on this weekend and then what you can expect at this store moving forward. So the head of marketing at Sitka, Matt Bluher, joins us right now. Matt, how you doing?
Good, Brett. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Thanks for coming on the show. You know, Sitka has kind of been at the top of the game for a long time. And I remember hearing about when the first retail location opened up. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then there's been some other efforts in other areas with the Sitka studio and things like that. So really kind of expanding. I mean, it seems like Sitka never stops trying to grow and expand and make things better. And these retail locations, I'm sure, are just another part of that. And two of them opening up in Minnesota. I'm going to ask you a little bit about that and what what kind of maybe some of the decision making behind that process. But I guess just first of all, how have the retail locations been doing?
You know, retail has been awesome for us. It is part of our growth strategy. So you're right on that. It's more than just growing in a commercial sense, though. It's growing our connection to the hunters and really having a real life touch point for our consumer in their market. A large part of what we've learned over almost 2 decades of doing this is that hunters are while their motivations are pretty similar, the reason for going out there and spending time in the field is similar. They're different. The pursuits that they chase, the type of hunting they do, the personal gratification they get out of it. It's different everywhere regionally. And so we want to service our customers and the hunters in the markets where they live. And we want to give the hunter an immersive experience. We hunt to get out in nature and experience it with all the senses. And so we feel like we can do that. We can do that really well if we execute it ourselves. And that's not at all discounting, the fabulous partners that we have in the area, like Shields. Shields is one of our key partners, longstanding. You can find just about, a majority of everything we make in a Shields location, but it's not everything. And so we can really curate the assortment, we can curate the experience and the customer touch point by opening retail stores. And Minnesota's was just next on the list. It's obviously a key market for us. There's a lot of hunters in this state. So that's kind of the backstory of retail.
Sure. I was going to ask you about that, being that you can buy Sitka gear in some of the other stores around the region a little bit and how it would vary. So if somebody goes to the Maple Grove location and just grand opening stuff aside, what can they expect when they walk in the door? What are they going to see there?
They're going to see everything we have to offer. Obviously, we'll over-index in pattern and optifade patterns that are relevant to the region. But one thing we found is that hunters travel and they, every now and then you're going to get that once in a lifetime tag or the tag you've been putting in for in Montana for 20 years or something. You're going to get outfitted for that trip. And so we're going to have in Maple Grove specifically, because it's a little bit larger footprint than our Mall of America store, we're going to have the full assortment available. So people can actually find, if you want open country, you're going on that sheep hunt above the tree line, or you're going out west for an elk hunt in Montana. And you want to get into subalpine. So we'll have just about everything we make in those locations and really offer a expert customer service that we feel we can do super well in our own retail store.
I think one of the questions I was going to ask you is what the difference between a retail store versus buying online. We're kind of out in the boonies where we're at, where we live. So a lot of the stuff we do is purchased online. And once in a while I get something that doesn't fit
Right.
quite right. So, I mean, having the ability to go in and try stuff on, I mean, that's got to be one of the biggest advantages of having a store like this.
Absolutely. I mean, just think about the waterfowl community in Minnesota, and there's a huge waterfowl community, and waders. We feel we make the best wader on the market, but it's not cheap. It's an expensive product, and it's a long lead purchasing decision, and with limited availability of those waders in the market through our wholesale channel. We want to make sure you can try those waders on. Every size is available, and every trim is available to really make sure you're comfortable making that purchase. So that's just one example of yeah, you're absolutely right. Being able to try it on and be confident in buying quality gear that is, it's priced to where it is because it's of the quality that you're buying into. So,
yeah, for sure. And those waders aren't cheap, but I'll tell you what, we got them when we went to Alaska. We hunted on Kodiak Island. I think Dan had one of the pictures up there where we were, the water was so clear. We did a lot of underwater stuff. It was kind of neat, but
that's awesome.
That's some rugged country up there, and you're sitting on jagged rocks. A lot of times you're sitting along the shoreline in these rocks, and they're slippery, and you're getting underwater, and there's all kinds of sharp objects underneath there, and no problems there. And I did some guiding for waterfowl, and obviously we hunt waterfowl pretty hard, and I would go through waders. If I was lucky, I could get 2 seasons out of them. And now I've had these, and I've put them through the paces, and and had them on airplanes, and carry them around in bins, and they're folded up and they're hanging up, and they're getting used in some of the tough areas. They've been really good, and I'm really happy with them so far. So it is, and that is one of those things you want to make sure you get the right size when you get them too. So let's talk about that grand opening then this weekend. Obviously there's going to be some giveaways. It sounds like a chance to win some Sitka gear.
Yeah, and you mentioned it when we kicked off. First 150 people in line get a swag bag, a swag bucket, I should say. So we'll be giving those out right when doors open at 10 a.m. I think we have music starting about 8 a.m. So
cool.
If this is going anything like our past grand openings, we're going to have a line at the door. There usually is a line. We've even had people camping out as much as like 36 hours in advance of the store opening. So if you get there right at 10 a.m., you're probably going to wait a little bit to get in. We hope that's not the case, and we can get people through. But get there early if you want to try and be one of the first 150 people in line to get that swag, that gift bucket. And then, we'll also have coffee available for people that have been standing out, and then games and fun things going on in the parking lot for the whole family. So really, really, again, an engaging experience, super rooted in the hunter and the pursuit of wild experiences. So excited. I couldn't be more excited for this one.
That's awesome. And this is just right off the heels of opening one up in the Mall of America a couple of weeks ago, it sounds like. I guess if you're going to open one up, if you're going to open 2 up here, it makes sense to do them together. It probably helps helping you bring all the gear together at once, and just open up one store and then open up the other one. How did the Mall of America one go? And that's just a bit of a smaller store then in the big mall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To answer your first question, it went great. We opened on a Friday. Most of our customers are hardworking folks like you and I. They're probably still at work on a Friday. I know I was still in the office in Bozeman. So, the Mall of America opening was fantastic. We still had a couple hundred people lining up in the mall before we opened the doors, which was killer. But the mall space, there's an obvious strategy behind that. The mall it's a smaller footprint, and it's a small footprint that gets a lot of eyeballs. And so, and not just eyeballs in Minnesota, that's a regional tourism destination. And so we can not only introduce the brand through a human touch point to a lot of potential customers, but we can create I want to say like almost a safe haven for dad while kids are at Camp Snoopy, and go check out waders and talk shop, talk hunting, talk about the season that you just had or that's coming up. we were tried really hard to get both of these doors open, specifically, ahead of the rifle opener in a week or so, and then the slug season. So we had a very, we had Minnesota in mind, the Minnesota hunter in mind. We ideally would have been open ahead of the pheasant and waterfowl seasons, but we did the best we could, and here we are. 2 doors in less than a month is super exciting for us. Oh yeah, I mean, just opening one store has got to be a huge undertaking. First of all, especially for a company the size of Sitka, but to do 2 of them, at least they're not too far away from each other. But that had to be quite a bit of work, and I like that idea. It's like Dad's store at Mall of America. That's that's kind of brilliant. Yep. And you do get a lot of foot traffic from people from all over the world, for sure. You said there's some live music at that Maple Grove location. Do you have local bands? Did you bring somebody in? Is there who's going to be playing there? Do you know? Yeah, we worked with a booking agent to find a local DJ to come in, and okay. DJs are. Some people hear DJ and roll their eyes a little bit, but what's great is we can have a DJ come in and they can play all day long, and they're excited to do so. And so, we worked with a local agency, and we found a couple of guys. One's name is Anthony Casper, the other is Sean Trotter, and both, for at least what we've heard from them is that they're Sitka fanatics. They're all into the brand, hunters themselves, and so to be able to find someone that can play music for us and for our customers, and do so, through the lens of being a fan of the brand, we're excited to have them. So it looks like, as Dan was kind of scrolling through some of those store locations on the website, it looked like you're going to open one up in Charlotte soon as well. Mm-hmm. Yep. 2-3 more weeks. I think November 9th is our target date. So we're just on the heels of Charlotte opening up, and then a fast follow to that one is I believe in Chicago. So we'll have an Illinois store just north of Chicago, and then Columbus as well. So Columbus, Ohio, fast follow on that one. So we're really trying to get into these communities and create a gathering place for hunters to come and experience the brand. Will there be an opportunity maybe when a new camel pattern or a new product or a new line comes out? Will there be an opportunity maybe to see some of that stuff in stores, a reason to go in there like, oh yeah, I get to go check this stuff out before everybody else does something, or some sort of incentive to come into the store locations? Absolutely. We actually did that with our launch of Cover. So Cover launched in September, our newest pattern, our first new pattern in 8 years. We were able to roll that out and provide exclusive opportunity for customers to see it in real life before it debuted online or in any of our wholesale partner locations. So absolutely exclusive opportunities to see new product, as well as exclusive product. So we'll be developing and are developing regionally relevant graphic T-shirt and hoodie programs, as well as some technical logo wear that represent your home turf. Okay, as part of our strategy. That was going to be one of our questions for sure, because Dan already was. I would love a hat with that logo on it. Yeah, if we can move the X to Western Minnesota or something. Yeah, I'll see what I can do. I know a guy. So yeah, those are cool. Yeah. I think those will sell for sure. And I mean, I know you've been there for 16 months, but you obviously know the history of Sitka. Were you surprised at how well the solids and the everyday apparel and gear has sold? Not surprised. No, there's a couple of things that I've learned in my career as both a marketer, a retailer, coming up in the outdoor space. A few things that I've learned is people want to wear their badge, right? Whether you're a hunter or a climber or a skier, you want to wear you commit so much of your time, and a lot of us design our whole lives around these pursuits that we love. And you want to wear that badge. You wear it with honor, and it's how you can identify with your people. And so so the logo wear, the everyday wear, seeing that be super successful, it's an opportunity for us. Commercially, we want to service our customers and what they need, and provide innovative products for 365 days of the year, but also let them identify with the brand that helps them get out and experience wild places. And then on the solids question, our stuff isn't cheap, right? So you want to get the most bang for your buck when you're buying that jacket or buying those pants or buying, whatever it is. And it's also an industry trend. We're seeing people want to buy into technical product that they can use for more than one thing. And so with Sitka, we know our customers in the summertime, they're hiking, they're going out camping, they're doing stuff in the outdoors and almost all year. And if we can give them a product that is going to service that need, and be performance based, then why not? And so the surprise, absolutely not. We know that our customer is getting out and getting after it. And the solid just gives them an opportunity to wear Sitka, and it's not going to be, you don't want to wear camo every time you put Sitka on, right?
Right. Well, it's nice because you can, it's quality gear. So when it's cold out or when, we travel a lot, so it always seems to fit nice, whether it's jackets or, the layered gear that you put underneath your outer jacket, things like that. It's nice when you can do, especially one that's going to go underneath maybe some of your camo. Mm-hmm. To have a solid, because we'll wear that when we're traveling, and and then it doesn't look like you're ready for the blind necessarily, but you're comfortable, you're warm, and then you can throw on your outer jacket, your outer layer in the system when you climb into the blind. And and some of the stuff like my backpack,
put that anywhere.
Just dropping stuff down.
The zippers do close.
The zipper, I do. Yeah. Well, I've been in it today, so zippers are open. But and I've got the duffels, and the gear bags are nice because they're also not overly complicated. They're durable, and they've got the right amount of pockets. So, how many times do you get a bag and then it's got so many pockets that where the heck which pocket did I put this thing in? So they travel nice, and so the gear is good, of course. It's not just the hunting camel pattern stuff that you'd wear out when you're actually hunting. So, all right. Well, I really appreciate the time coming on today. Is there anything else about the Minnesota locations or anything with the other locations that you want to talk about, or maybe the grand opening? What are the hours on Saturday this weekend?
So we'll be open at 10 a.m. And I believe the store stays open till 7. And we're, the grand openings all day long. Like I said, games, live music with our DJs, and every hour on the hour, we'll be doing a giveaway. Giveaways include jackets. We'll be doing a full waterfowl system. The free to enter lottery, just come in. If you're there, you get a ticket. And it'll be a fun opportunity to try and win some free gear. So yeah.
So it looks like the grand opening is 10 to 8 in Maple Grove.
10 to 8.
And then I see the hours. If anybody wants to go to the Mall of America location, maybe before the Maple Grove one opens. Mall of America is open 10 to 9 Monday through Saturday and 11 to 7 on Sundays. And I'd guess that it'd be similar hours for Maple Grove, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And it looks like Trey Waynes, former cornerback for the Vikings. Trey Waynes might be there on Saturday.
Yep, he said he's coming by. We don't want to bank on that, but we're hopeful to see him. He's someone that's been using the brand for a long time and want to at least take a picture and hopefully he can swing by and make time to stay for us.
And some of the there's some exclusive. I'm sorry if you mentioned this, but there's some exclusive items designed for the Minnesota location by a local artist, Cody Pets.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah. So Cody Pets does. It's something that we've been doing in every location. Is creating. He's created some regionally relevant kind of pursuit specific logo wear. So tees, I believe it's just t-shirts for this round in Minnesota, but we're bringing those out every season and every year so that we'll have a kind of an always updated new assortment of local artist graphic logo wear in stores.
Awesome. All right. Matt Bluher, head of marketing at Sitka. Appreciate the time. The grand opening of the Maple Grove Sitka store is on Elm Creek Boulevard, and it's Saturday, October 26th, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Of course, you can Google all that stuff as well, too. The Google machine works well for this kind of thing. But check it out. And I'm going to try to get there. But as I said in our email correspondence, my 84-year-old dad is coming out to hunt on Saturday, and he's only coming on Saturday. So will there anything be going on Sunday? The store will be open on Sunday, I'd assume, over there?
Store will be open. We'll be there with a smile. The store is not going anywhere. Going hunting with your dad, that's what we want you to do. So don't feel like you need to be there for the grand opening if that's what's on your schedule, Brett. I would feel bad if you prioritize going to the store grand opening. So you should definitely go do that.
Well, I appreciate that, and maybe we'll try to make it there on Sunday since he's only going to be out here on Saturday. But just quick side story: we've got a couple videos on our Fish Hunt Forever channel, and one is from him 2 years ago. Being, I suppose he was 82 then.
That's good math.
Yep. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I had to use my fingers. We took him hunting up in Saskatchewan and made a film to recreate this photo that he took or that he was a part of back in 1956 in Saskatchewan on a pretty epic waterfowl hunt up there. So we brought him back up and shot a bunch of geese and recreated this photo. It was kind of a neat deal because his dad was born up in Saskatchewan. So we did this kind of whole story about our family history up there, and we brought him back up there this year, and we had maybe just equally as epic of a waterfowl day, only this time with snow geese instead of mallards. And at the very end, all of us but him unloaded our guns, and we were going to pack up, and it's like a 6 or 7 pack of snow geese came flying in, and he shot 3 times, and 3 snow geese fell out of the sky. So 84-year-old triple on snows in Saskatchewan this year was pretty special.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
So we'll see. I don't think it'll go as well as Saskatchewan this weekend, but we're going to try to get him some birds anyway. Yeah. So maybe we'll try to get out there on Sunday. But Matt, good luck with the opening this weekend, and thanks for the time today on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate you. We'll see you there.
If you want to catch a big walleye, go where the big walleyes are. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world, with a variety of resorts and lodging facilities offering full-service fishing. Lake of the Woods is also home to sturgeon, sauger, perch, trophy pike, muskie, smallmouth bass, burbot, and more. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods today. Go to lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com. All right, this is Sporting Journal Radio. We're going to check in with Joe Henry now from Lake of the Woods Tourism. Joe looks like he's on the road right now, and I know you were up at Lake of the Woods pretty recently. It sounds like things are on fire up there right now, Joe.
I tell you, Brett, that's fall bite right now. I mean, we've had such unseasonably warm weather that it's been such nice conditions for fall fishing. But I tell you, if a person wants to get up and go catch a cooler walleyes before the ice hits, now is an incredible time to do it. It's a jig bite, and it's such an enjoyable bite. Getting out either on the Rainy River or out on the main lake or up at the northwest angle and anchoring up or spot locking if you bring your own boat, and then jigging over the side of the boat with a frozen emerald shiner or a live emerald shiner. There are actually live shiners now because there's shiners running. But nonetheless, jigging over the side of the boat, and the walleye and sauger action has been incredible. We've seen a lot of jumbo perch coming through this year with the walleyes, a lot more than normal, and that's been kind of a nice little bonus.
That's interesting. I wonder what changed. It's funny how every so often you see a different year class, or you see just a little shift in some of the species, like starting to catch the small burbots on the Rainy River like we have the last couple of years. But it's kind of interesting to see how just you see little fluctuations every now and then.
Well, I mean, we know the perch are there. We catch them all summer, and the DNR does a really nice job of test netting, of creel surveys, of seine netting with the young of the year fish on sandbars to see how the hatch went. With all that being said, it just seems like in the fall we'll get a larger percentage of perch because I don't know if they're schooling tighter or if they're more. I don't know why, but nonetheless we do, and we're seeing some good numbers coming in coolers. Which we always talk about sauger being a bonus fish while you're catching your walleyes, right? Well, so are perch. I mean, and you get some of these schools, they're nice. They're nice fish, you know.
For sure. So, how's the river looking then? The shiner run. What's the latest on that?
Well, we had another batch of shiners come through this last week, and of course, whenever we get a batch of shiners, that means there's going to be walleyes right on their heels. So we got a blast of walleyes that came through the river again. River's low. River's really low right now. We haven't had a lot of rain, so the river's low, but we do have shiners running. The bait dealers talked about getting some shiners out of the river this last week, and of course, the walleye bite was real good again. We got different schools of walleyes up and down the river. I mean, if you go from the mouth of the Rainy River, really 4 Mile Bay. So if you go from the lake and you're coming into the Rainy River, first it's 4 Mile Bay, then it's the Rainy River, and the Rainy River goes 42 miles. All the way to Birchdale, and you can pretty much run a boat up and down that river for 42 miles. There's a couple of spots you got to watch out for, certainly, but that's a long stretch of river to fish. Some people will fish right down where all the resorts are at Wheeler's Point. Some people will fish around the bridges in Badette. Other people will go to, the area by Clemenson, or the area by Frontier, or the area by Birchdale, where the different boat ramps are. There's a lot of neat spots to fish on the river. We also got a lot of people fishing the lake right now, along that south shore, out in front of the Lighthouse Gap, in front of Pine Island, the Morris Point Gap, Zipple Bay, Long Point, Twin Islands. All those spots are holding nice fish, and they're being caught, anchored up, and jigging. Getting up to the Northwest Angle, it's kind of a traditional structure bite in the fall. Underwater points, net down areas where there's some current, getting on the edge of a reef and having just a little bit of a drop, going along shore and having a little bit of a notch coming out of shore that makes it an inside turn. Just traditional structure areas are holding nice pods of fish.
It's that time of year, Joe, where it's hard to decide what you want to do, because waterfowl hunting, pheasant hunting, upland bird hunting, grouse hunting, deer hunting, it's all like everything's happening. And at the same time, fishing always seems to start going really, really well. So it gets to be tricky about which one you want to do this time of year.
Yeah, it is. We talk about, and we've done the cast and blast up at Lake of the Woods before. And, the grouse hunting is going really strong. There's a good number of birds up in the different public hunting areas. We have a lot of public hunting. We have a lot of grouse. We've got 3 species, Brett. We got, rough grouse, we got spruce grouse, and we got the sharptail. Certainly the rough grouse are the most sought after, and they're the most abundant up here. The waterfowl hunting, we got a lot of people that are, you've done a layout boat hunting up at the Northwest Angle. We got some divers starting to come through. Still have a lot of mallards in the area. The goose hunters on the south end, hunting primarily field, are doing real well too. So that's in full gear. But I got to tell you, and deer hunting's coming up. But during deer hunting, Brett, is when we get a lot of really big walleyes. It's like when people are sitting in tree stands, the normal outdoors person, they want to take advantage of a very short deer hunting season, right? I do as well. At that same time, it seems when the biggest walleyes are being caught, and you know what? It's perfect.
Well, it's not too early either to start thinking about early ice. I mean, that's going to be happening sooner than later here, and that's typically a pretty good time to be fishing up at Lake of the Woods too, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, early ice. And when's that going to happen at Lake of the Woods? A lot of times that happens at the end of November, that you can start getting out ice fishing. We always say, as a rule of thumb, give or take, normally our day houses from our resorts start getting out about December 10th. Now, with that being said, before then, you'll be able to bring out a four-wheeler or a snowmobile and a collapsible fish house. There'll be some access normally. Now, that's all Mother Nature dependent, right? But normally that's when we get out, and that's early. We're a very far north destination, so we have that extended ice fishing season. It starts early and it goes all the way through March. In fact, our seasons actually allow us to keep fish houses on the ice through March, Brett, through March 31st, and then you can actually fish for walleyes and keep walleyes through April 14th. So it's a very extended season, and it's going to be here before you know it. It's nice and warm now, but how things go. Things are going to turn pretty soon. We're talking about the ponds are freezing up, and pretty soon there's a bay frozen up, and somebody sees the first spear out there fishing, either spearing pike or angling for pike with tip-ups, and pretty soon there's ice on the main lake. There's still open water. The ice is all covered up. People start putting satellite photos out of the main lake, and then it's game on,
Right. And so, we always talk about fishing Lake of the Woods with a guide or a service up there, and even for early ice, maybe that's even more important for early ice, because going with somebody up there that is on the lake every day and watching those conditions, they know where you can go at all times throughout the year up there, Joe.
Tell you what, whether you go with a full service provider, an outfitter, or a resort, they drive those trails. They purposely get up early in the morning at dark 30 before anybody else is up, and they check their trails. They check it for current ice conditions. Did things change overnight? Were there any cracks? Were there any ice upheavals? Do they need to reroute a road? Do they need to put a bridge over a crack? Whatever the case might be, the bottom line for them is safety, and they're watching it close as can be. So I think that is a great asset when you go ice fishing. You don't have to worry about things like that. You let the professionals handle it, and you just take their lead. Now, if you do go off on your own, if you go and pay a provider to get ice access on their ice road or their ice trail, listen to what they have to say. Go out on their marked trail. The trail is marked and groomed for a reason. Don't be going off the Never Never line trying to find that hot bite away from everybody. Make sure that you're talking to people and finding out, hey, I'll stay in the trail when I get out to a certain depth. How far can I venture off the main trail? Communicate, because you just can't go off. You might have an ice trail that's perfectly good ice. There's great ice right around us. But if you go quarter mile that way or quarter mile that way, it could be 2 inches. I mean, you just never know. Trust the professionals. Communicate with them, and they're going to keep you safe.
All right, Joe, coming up, we're going to have a message from MinFish about the upcoming yes or no vote on the ballot regarding the Environment and Natural Resources Trust Fund. We've also got Matt Bluher talking about the opening of 2 new Sitka stores here in Minnesota. But for now, Joe, if people want to plan a trip to Lake of the Woods, what should they do?
Check out our website, and that is lakeofthewoodsmn.com.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.